Welcome to This Explainer. You know that absolute nightmare scenario? The one where you finally close on your dream home, you unpack all those boxes, and then, bam, you realize you're zoned for the completely wrong school? Yeah, we've all heard those horror stories. Well, today, we're diving deep into the intricate and honestly sometimes totally confusing world of Washington State school district maps and attendance boundaries.
So here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with beyond lines on a map, then we'll clarify district versus attendance boundaries, explore why the lines keep moving, dig into Washington's unique geographic challenges, and finally wrap up with navigating maps and enrollment.
All right, let's jump right into part one, beyond lines on a map. It's so important to remember that these boundaries, they aren't just arbitrary squiggles on a page. They are part of this massive interconnected system linking local boards, city planning, and state education rules. And honestly, they completely dictate your daily logistics, especially in a fast-growing state like Washington. With shifting housing patterns and booming suburbs, these lines decide if your kid gets to ride the bus or if you're stuck doing the morning drop-off scramble every single day. They dictate access to extracurricular activities. Plus, in areas that are just exploding with growth, these boundaries are the main tool used for managing school crowding, which directly impacts classroom sizes. Knowing where these lines fall dictates whether you have a guaranteed spot or if you're going to have to navigate the whole stressful transfer application process.
Moving on to our next big topic, district versus attendance boundaries.
Okay, listen up, because mixing these two terms up could literally result in a very costly real estate mistake. There is a critical distinction here. Washington has a ton of local school districts, right? And each has its own enrollment policies. Now, a map might show you a district's broad legal boundary. That's the geographic area served by the whole school district. But inside of that, you have attendance boundaries. Those are the specific micro-level zones that assign kids to individual elementary, middle, or high schools. So just because you live inside a district's legal boundary, that absolutely does not guarantee which specific school building your child will go to. Some districts are massive, with dozens of schools, while others are tiny.
But hey, take a deep breath. If you don't love your assigned zone, you aren't always permanently locked in. A lot of districts offer what's called choice or transfer options. This could mean intra-district transfers, so hopping between schools within the same district, or inter-district transfers, moving to a different district altogether. But you should never, ever assume a transfer will just automatically be approved. It heavily depends on available space, program availability, and current district policies, which can and do shift from year to year.
Which brings us to part three, why the lines keep moving.
Here is a golden rule. You cannot assume a map from 3 years ago is still accurate today. Why? Because the landscape is constantly shifting. Rapid population growth is a massive driver here. When huge new housing developments open up overnight, districts have to act incredibly fast to balance enrollment across their existing schools. Boundary changes also happen out of pure necessity during long-term capital planning. Think about it, opening a brand new state-of-the-art school, closing an old one down, or adjusting bus routes. Even shifts in neighborhood demographics can prompt a school board to redraw the map just to balance capacity. Population booms force these lines to move. And because these decisions really affect families, districts will typically hold public meetings and gather a ton of feedback before making anything final.
Let's dive into part four, Washington's unique geographic challenges. This whole thing becomes an even crazier puzzle when you factor in the actual terrain we live on. Washington's super diverse geography means school planners aren't just looking at neat little neighborhood blocks. They are working around some serious physical hurdles. In the Seattle metro area, you've got super dense, rapid growth, maxing out building capacity. But head out to rural or coastal parts of the state, and the issue isn't crowding, it's distance and access. Planners are dealing with mountain communities, wide-open agricultural regions, and coastal towns where getting to school might literally require taking a ferry route. It's wild. These natural and infrastructural barriers heavily dictate exactly how and where an attendance line gets drawn.
And because of these strict legal boundaries and natural hurdles, we get this really frustrating reality for some families. You could, theoretically, live right next door to a school. Like, you could watch recess from your kitchen window and still be assigned to a completely different school miles away. Sometimes a neighborhood is literally sliced right down the middle by an attendance boundary. You simply cannot rely on visual proximity alone.
All right, finally, let's get into part five, navigating maps and enrollment. Let's get you equipped with some practical survival skills so you can actually secure the right school for your family. Whenever you are looking at a school district map, just follow this straightforward 4-step process. First up, check the date. Seriously, make sure it is current. These are living documents. Second, look for the legend so you actually know what the colors and squiggly lines indicate. You need to tell a major road apart from an actual zoning boundary.
Third, and this is the big one, confirm your specific address using the district's official locator tool. And fourth, if your child has special needs or you want to transfer, just pick up the phone. Ask the district enrollment staff about exceptions. They are literally there to help you interpret this stuff, especially if you're looking at a brand new housing development.
And this brings up a massive pitfall for homebuyers. I hear this all the time. Can you trust your real estate listing? Like, is it actually safe to rely on a popular real estate app, or a neighborhood rumor, or a city map for your school zoning?
The short answer? No. As this quote from our source material perfectly states, a real estate advertisement may mention a school name, but the district should always be the final source. Listen, county assessor maps and housing listings are fantastic for getting your bearings, but they are not the final authority. Do not buy or rent a house based on a line in a real estate listing. You absolutely must verify your exact address directly with the district's enrollment staff.
So, to make this completely actionable, here is your ultimate checklist. Before you sign a lease, and definitely before you lock yourself into a 30-year mortgage, ask the district these specific questions. Which specific district serves this exact address? What are the current boundaries for elementary, middle, and high school? And here's the kicker. Are there any proposed boundary changes currently under review by the board? Seriously, you don't want to buy a house in June only to have the map completely change on you by September. Also, ask if transportation is available for that address and what the transfer policies look like right now. Using this checklist will entirely eliminate any expensive enrollment misunderstandings.
We're going to wrap up with this final thought. You've got to treat these boundaries as living, breathing documents, not facts carved in stone. Ask yourself this: if your neighborhood is constantly growing, how permanent can your school boundary really be? The safest approach is just to stay proactive. Keep an eye on the district websites, maybe tune into a school board meeting if you're in the middle of a move, and just anticipate growth in your community. A little digging today will save you a massive headache tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope you feel fully equipped to conquer those maps.